umpteenth episode of Cookies and Christ. So today we're going over Genesis 12 through 14. I think we end at 14. Yeah, 14, which ends at 14:24. I'm going to lead today. It's going to be interesting. I think we get into a really interesting part of the Bible. This was, I think, my favorite section so far. So we left off with the Tower of Babel, and now we're getting into God's chosen people. Still in Genesis, but God's chosen people. Well, chosen family. I'm sorry, chosen family. So it's basically about Abram, who then becomes Abraham. I mean, yeah, Abraham. So we'll start. So hold on, let me get my stuff together, which I should already have together. I think I already said my intro. Hold on, because I wrote some stuff. All right, um, so God reveals Himself to Abram, and He tells him that He's going to make him this famous guy of many nations. And so when I heard that, you think that, oh, Abram must be, that guy. But you later learn that he's just regular degular Abram. He's a regular guy. He's from a town called and he's not, it's not. He's regular. He's not this upstanding individual. So God basically chose a regular man, who was still full of a whole bunch of flaws. So that gives you some hope for thyself. Like you don't have to be this amazing character in order for God to use you. And we see that He makes a lot of mistakes along the way, the same way we make a lot of mistakes along the way. So we can really relate to Abe. So after God appears to him and tells him how He's going to make him, this great nation, He's basically making a covenant with Abram. And so Abram's portion of this, like his only responsibility, he only had one thing to do, and that was obey God. That's all he had to do. Why your face look like that? I mean, I know that's hard. That's hard. It is, I mean, it's like asking for this much, but
Because you saying it's like only one thing to do. Yeah, but it's not like all you had to do was take out the trash. No. even
I know it's a big to do.
even ask his immediate like specified ask, that was massive. I'll let you finish it, but in my notes or whatever, I was like, what? You want me to do what?
It's a lot. So okay, so along with that, he had to leave his hometown, but he did get to take his wife. Some people talk about how the disciples, they left everything. But he took Sarai, he took his nephew Lot, he took all his possessions, like he took livestock, he just uprooted his whole life. He took a whole bunch of stuff with him. He was able to do that. That's a plus side.
And he took so the thing that I found interesting is like leave
He
your
took
family,
the whole town.
but but take your help. Leave your family, but take the people who help you out and roll out. I don't know these people, but all right, like that's crazy. I mean,
Well, they all left, and they are on this mission, and they're supposed to be going to Canaan. All right, that's what they're going. Hold on, I'm on the wrong page.
yeah.
I'm on a way wrong page. Okay, so but that's where they're going.
Bonus
Um,
points if you can tell us where does the land of Canaan come from? You can keep going. Let's see if someone puts it in the chat.
I got the answer. It's on page 30 in a map. So,
So they supposed to be paying attention.
uh, I didn't know we was quizzing people. So, I was reading the study notes, and they like let you jump ahead a little bit, so you get to learn that from Abram, who again Abraham, he ends up birthing a nation of Israel, which is amazing, and from his lineage, Jesus is born. So he is, an important guy. He doesn't know how important he is right now, but he is an important dude. So big respect to Abram. That's why in that a lot of different sayings they say Father Abraham. Um, so they arrive. Well, on their way they get to Egypt. And things got weird in Egypt. Uh, Sarai apparently is flawless. Sarai is his wife, and she's just beautiful. So they are trucking upon Egypt. He sees Egypt. He turns to his wife, and instead of holding her hand and walking into the land all good, he says, "Look, you're gonna have to act like you're my sister." He was like, I know how cute you are. They know how cute you are. We can't sleep on the fact that you are beautiful, and they gonna want you, and then they gonna try to kill me to get you. So just tell them that I'm your brother, and then if you say that, then they will give me a whole bunch of stuff in order to get in good with you, and I stay alive. We get the goods, and all you gotta do is be somebody else's wife. You know what I'm saying? Like, is that cool with you? And she was like, okay. I don't see any kickback. They might have left that out. I can assume she was like, that's not cool. But if you think that's what you got to do in order for your husband to survive, I don't know why they didn't turn to the Lord and say, is there any way to go around Egypt? Is there any way to mask her beauty? They didn't turn to God at all. They
Yeah,
just
God, please make my wife ugly.
really just not like make her less cute, like make her only
No,
beautiful for me.
they weren't. It wasn't that they was traveling through. Like famine had hit, and so they were up for hard times. So they had to go. And I'm pretty sure, based off of the layout, that it was no place else to go but Egypt. That still kept them on the path to Canaan. So it was like,
Yeah.
where we gonna go? Back to where we was just from? Imagine upping your whole family and then be like, oh, we out, and then having to turn around. Hey,
I mean, if they don't get you, they gonna get you. So I guess he had no other choice, but he still could have consulted with God, like, this is what I think gonna happen. But she really was cute because this is exactly what happened. He called a spade. They got there, and everybody was checking her out. Everybody was looking at her like word had got to the Pharaoh. People just was whispering all around. This beautiful woman just arrived, and the Pharaoh basically took her as his wife. Um, and so he was showering Abram with, livestock. He was giving him goats, sheep, name an animal. He was giving it to him. And it's like, thank you so much for giving your sister to me. She's beautiful. I love her, this, that, and the other. And while he was showering him with this, God was raining plagues. And Pharaoh was trying to figure out what's going on, what changed in my life. And he looked over, she wasn't as cute no more. And he noticed that Sarai was the only thing that changed. So you must be what's making God so upset. So he went to Abram and was like, did you lie to me and say that this was your sister, actually your wife? Why would you do such a thing? I didn't get a clear answer. The next thing says that they was leaving. so, so I guess, well, honestly, I think the Pharaoh had his men walk them out. Escort them. He escorted them out. He told them to get out of here. You brought this woman to me, and all this happened. And to be honest, this is not the last time that this happens. It's just, a jacked up situation. Um, so that's what happens between Genesis 12 and, well, actually just Genesis 12. So we get Abram that had to call upon his life by God. They established a covenant together. Abram, Sarai, and Lot leave to go to Canaan. They go through Egypt, well, stop at Egypt on their way, among many other things. Like I forgot to mention that Abram had made an altar, and he stopped in many places, and he built different altars, and he worshiped God at those altars. So I thought that was really interesting. Um, and that's before the whole Egypt fiasco. And then we get to Abram and Lot. So Abram and Lot arrive in Negev. We're gonna say that. What you think, Morgan? You're better at English. Negev.
one of those have to be a long E.
Okay. So they stop there. Um, and they notice that like they're overcoming the land, like with all the livestock and things like that. So they have to pick, like they have to split. So Lot, Abram, gracious Abe, gave Lot the choice. And Lot was like, he looking, and one land look all nice and fertile, and it's just blooming. And you would think he would be like, you know what, this is my uncle. He allowed me to travel with him. He gave me the first pick. I'm gonna go ahead and give the good junk to my uncle. He was like, I'm going over there. So he picked the Jordan Valley, which is to the east, and he moved his tents and everything over there, which is near Sodom. Not knowing the whole layout of Sodom and how it's really not the place to be if you're following God, because it's already a wicked place. There, well, it says extremely wicked place. So the Lord said to Abram that, and this part sounded similar to the Lion King to me when he showed him the land and was like, all of this is going to be yours, and I'm giving all this to you. And then later on, you learn that there's a war that breaks out, and Abram has to go and rescue Lot, with his nephew Lot. And I don't remember what happened with the war. Morgan is going to probably touch on that part. But basically, you ain't going to touch on the war.
I can tell you what happened. So apparently, because I remember the line. It said, where it said? It said, Abraham. What page am I on?
33.
Go ahead to the top of 34. I mean, it starts at the end of 33. It says, when Abraham heard that his nephew Lot had been captured, he mobilized the 318 trained men. How you have 318 warriors just in the tuck?
In his pocket.
Right out. We gotta go rescue the homie. Like,
I mean, he had the 300.
Where did he have time to get 318 warriors in between traveling to Canaan, being a shepherd, keeping people off his wife? Like,
good old Abe. So Abe is about that life.
It's like 318. It wasn't like he just said, "Oh, let me get 20 of my good men." 318, and then
that's his nephew.
They ran from him, and he was like, "Oh, we catching up." And I guess they was on donkeys or candles, or maybe they was on foot. Imagine walking on foot chasing back then to fight somebody. So not only did you have to have up the stamina to walk the miles, and then you had to fight once you got there. And I'm sure they was carrying swords and
that's why I said he bought the 300. They was up
with they hand carried a cannon. I don't know, but anyway, they caught up with him.
They victory. Nonetheless, there was a victory.
They won, and they captured Lot, and then captured those people. I mean, they freed Lot and his crew, and then captured the other people and all the stuff that they had stolen. Blah blah blah. But I was like, "Oh, go ahead, Abe."
Right? The power of God, the God is behind him. So after all of that, we were sitting here trying to figure out Mel's name. We decided to call this King Mel. Melchizedek, I think, but the king of Salem. He blessed Abram, and then the king of Sodom asked him to give his people back. He asked him to give his people back, and I don't know if I thought this was funny, but it's just, I guess the way I read it, I was like, man. So Abram's reply to the king of Sodom was, I solemnly swear to the Lord, God Most High, creator of heaven and earth, that I will not take so much as a single thread or single thong from what belongs to you. Otherwise, you might say, I am the one who made Abram rich. I will accept only what my young warriors have already eaten, and I request that you give a fair share of the goods to my allies. And he named his allies. And I was like, that's a long way of saying something. And I've heard people say all of that. And I was like, I wonder, sometimes when you hear different sayings like this in church or on a movie or something like that, and then you read it, you're like, that's where that comes from. So I've heard people say that whole line. And I was like, oh, so I thought that was like a little epiphany that I had. That's where they got it from. They got that from Abram. And that's where we ended. Yeah. I thought that was I thought that was interesting to see how their characters are and how things are going. Because to me, that's how the whole story of the chosen family is. Like everybody thinks, oh, my family, this family right here. They have a lot going on, and you see how they are still considered God's chosen family. So I took that as a lot of inspiration, honestly, because we can feel like, oh, we too jacked for God to use us. Like we're too messed up, we're too wrong for the right cause. And I thought that was really interesting that we'll see it as a lot of, like I said, that's not the first time that somebody's gonna act like their wife is their sister. Um, it keeps happening. Bad things happen to them, but it kind of invites these things by their actions. So I thought that was a nice intro to how all of this goes down. This is honestly like my favorite part of the Bible, so like of the Old Testament, of the Old Testament so far. Um, but do you have any notes to add, Morgan? I kind of
Ooh,
went through.
you just like
I
so
went
right.
through real fast. I
I
went
know,
through.
like, all right. So my notes on this section, basically, so I guess I'll start with like my takeaways, and then we can kind of go into my questions. Pardon. Let me take a little sip. All right. So
Water.
I thought that oh, trickle.
Continue. Continue. Continue.
Even though, so I thought it was dope that, like you said, even though Abraham wasn't perfect, he still had faith. So God blessed him. But when things looked a little iffy, Abraham lost his faith and decided, I gotta call an audible, and we gonna just figure this out. And so it left me with the question was, how can I adopt blind, unwavering faith? And it made me question myself, like, do I have, or how much faith do I have that if God came to me and was like, Morgan girl, go ahead and drop everything, your house, leave your home, your family, leave everything, and just go somewhere else, would I go? And I feel like I don't know how long Abram lingered with this mission he received, but it seemed instantaneous. It was not even like a second thought, the way that it's posed in the Bible. I feel like, you know how sometimes people are like, oh, God been telling me this for a long time. I feel like God will literally have to tell me this for a long time and possibly cause other things in my life to crumble to the point that it makes sense for me to now do what he didn't already told me to do. He's like, since you ain't listen, I'm gonna make you listen. Because like you said, all he had to do was obey. That wasn't a simple obey. It wasn't like, wash
Like
my
it
hands.
wasn't. I get that. That's why I say, oh, he had one thing, but that one thing was major. Like that. That is. I mean, that's
That's all we all have to do is
we
obey.
say too, but stuff happens, and we lose track. Also, we just go our own
So,
way.
then from there, as I was going through it, I was like, was Abram leaving selfishly motivated? Because basically, God bribed him. He promised him like this land and this wealth and all this stuff. Huh?
Okay. Okay.
He
No, I was
promised
talking
him
about
this
leaving
stuff.
initially.
Yeah. And so he did it, but would he have gone if God was like, oh, just leave? Or he's literally said, leave, I'm going to do this for you. Leave. And you left. But if he said, just leave, like that's a hope. What you mean, just leave? Like, or just leave and get all of this. So was it really faith, or was it really like the internal ego that he kind of stroked to motivate him to leave? Because as we can see, Abram is kind of flawed. And I think that the more human part of him may have been like, oh yeah, that's what's up. I'm trying to see what that be like, bro.
That famous guy, like I mean, yeah, you
Yeah,
offer somebody's
trying
name
to
and stuff
see.
like that. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know. I think I don't know. I don't like the
You
word
see
bribe,
where I got that?
but I said I don't like the word bribe because it just seems like in a negative way, but more of a promise of good things. But that's the same thing God promises us, and we still be acting all crazy. Not that we're gonna be famous and all of that, but He definitely promises us great things, and we still don't rise to the occasion. And although those are wonderful things, you see that Abram still was acting out of character as well. Like, do you just keep forgetting that God promised you fame and fortune and all of these
Well,
great things?
his assignment was to travel to Canaan. His assignment ain't had nothing to do with his wife. He was like, I'm still doing what God said. God said go to Canaan. I left and I'm going to Canaan. Decided to
I'm
make a deal.
assuming that doesn't mean lying to the king, the Pharaoh.
Which brings me to my next little takeaway about the treatment of Sarai. Like, I too was like, I asked, like, was she cool with it? Did she not have a say? And you're married, I'm not. So if lying or pretending you was single was going to save your husband, would you go along with it? Would you become somebody else's wife and pretend your husband was your brother if it meant saving his life? Not knowing how I was going to be there.
My first thing, honestly, because when you see like with Mary and Joseph, the angel appeared to both of them, not at the same time, but Joseph probably was like, but the angel came to him and was like, "Oh, okay, I believe."
But that didn't happen because it wasn't a God ordained thing.
God didn't talk to Sarai. God talked to Abram. So if my husband said this, my first thing would have been like, "Remember that God that you had told me about? Can you ask him?" Like, is this really the way that he wants us to do the task that he has for us? Because, this is not, to my knowledge, I don't know if that's her God yet, but I feel like that would have been my thing, would have been like, hey, let's talk to God and see, is there a better way? Can we not do this? Because they don't explicitly say this, but she becomes the Pharaoh's wife. Like,
you say he takes her as a wife.
No, it doesn't say it until later on, after all the terrible stuff start happening. When he's giving Abram all of these gifts. Hold on, let me see. He said they sang her praises.
The palace saw her. They sang praises to the
and Sarai was taken into his place.
Yeah.
So palace. So you just assume that just means with doors closed, that's his possession now. You have to draw that conclusion, but they clearly do say later on that you allowed me to take her as my wife. That means to me,
what's happening?
I don't know. It's still counting though, so I don't know. On our end, people, there was a countdown that just happened, so I don't know what happened. But I'm looking at it online and it's still going. But that's a lot to take in. Like, no, like I've watched the movie with Woody Harrelson or Demi Moore, whoever that was, when the people in Las Vegas was acting like, hey, let me have one night with your wife. You can't do something. I don't care how much the amount is. Your marriage can't be the same after you figure out that your husband is willing to barter with you like that. Like, just be like, hey, like, I'm always gonna be on the back end. Like, if anything go wrong, I can always throw Sarai out there. And her goods are gonna save the day. Like, that's not, I wouldn't want to be used like that. That's not cool.
Well, all right, I'm going to play devil's advocate because you and I have had different conversations going back to that movie where the police officer was assaulting the wife in front of the husband and she wanted the husband to be complacent. Yeah. And your personal feelings in the situation were to, hey, I want my husband to be saved, and you understood him not doing certain actions for the sake of his life, and then he can console her later and they can do whatever. So it could be the same justification here. Do this.
But he just assumed that he was gonna get killed. Like, they never said, I mean, they did say that she was beautiful, but so I don't know customs. I know our customs.
That's probably just the lay of the land, how they
are. Wanted to do something like that. I know that's my real situation. I know that situation. I don't know their culture enough to know if you looking real nice and you walk into a kingdom, is everybody automatically gonna say because you look that good, you belong to the Pharaoh? I don't know if he just assumed that, or
I don't think it's that because you look good, you're going to the Pharaoh. It's you are a foreigner and you're traveling into our territory. So that also, I don't feel like they just welcome strangers into their land. And I feel like it has to have been a custom even where he was from Otherwise, why would he have that thought? No one just thinks, oh, I'm going to get killed without there being some past experiences or knowledge that this is what people do when a foreigner comes into the land with a beautiful woman. She could have probably been an AJ, average Joan, and they might have did the same thing, but she wouldn't have made it to the pharaoh. She might have made it to the jesters, or one of the first linemen. I don't know what the structure is in the kingdom, but I think that is something to be considered. So with that knowledge, if you know that this is something that's occurring, like police brutality is occurring, would you then go along with it for the sake of saving your husband's life?
So there's still a difference. So so for everybody who doesn't know what we're talking about, there is a movie, I forget what it's called, but Terrence Howard is in. It's a whole bunch of people in it, and basically him and his wife get pulled over, and a police officer basically frisks his wife in an inappropriate way, and Terrence Howard doesn't stick up for her. And we were discussing whether or not we would allow something like that to happen. And you're at a crossroads, which is the police officer is the person that is the aggressor, and yet they're the person of authority as well. So you're put in a position as a husband to either stick up for your wife and possibly get killed, or let it go and you live to see another day, but now you got these issues in your marriage. This situation that's going on in the Bible is not we're going to get through this one incident and then we're going to go home. This is, now I'm his wife and I have to, like, are we riding out into the sunset? Are you coming to rescue me at some point in time? Like, because the other incident seems like after that fill up happens, we go home. I said, I can deal with that. Me and my husband can try to fix that situation. That's still hard. That's not something I want to sign up for. I mean, I'd rather go out like Bonnie and Clyde. I don't know, but I really don't want to deal with that. But if that was a situation, yes, I would try to just mentally and emotionally take that so that we can live another day. This situation is, I don't see the out. Like, where was this going to end? It didn't end in a day. It was like she became his wife and she was living in a palace and all of this. Like, when was he coming to get her? Is this now I'm just somebody else's wife now and you just left me? So no, it's not, to me, it's not the equivalent. So I wouldn't have been good with this situation. If it was, hey, I gotta let somebody kiss me on the cheek as we walk through, then I could have did that with ease. Take a cheek. But so since
this is no,
you're not married, I want to ask you the same question. You're not married, but you still know what it feels like to possibly have been somebody's exclusive. And then somebody else comes, like, imagine you on your way to Florida, and when you get to Georgia, somebody say you can't cross state lines unless you get married to the sheriff. That's a whole other.
It was a story about immigration, and basically a family was trying to cross, and they taxed them, and they didn't have, so like it was money, and they gave them all their money, and he was like, "This not enough." And he was like, "Well, what do you want?" And then he was like, he looked at
the wife.
Yeah.
I saw that. I saw that. I don't think it was a documentary. I
didn't say it was documentary. I just said it was about immigration.
Yeah, I did see that. Was it Orange is the New Black? I don't know, but I saw it.
It was.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. Because the last season was about immigration. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think that's real, because that story came out of nowhere. I never thought about that, but that's really something that possibly happened. I'm not trying to claim it, but that seemed real possible, that people get to the border and these border patrol or the people in charge of these camps or whatever they're doing can really take advantage of families like that, and that's real unfortunate. So I mean, are you saying that you'll be like, hey, I'm trying to save my man's life by giving mine in a horrible way?
I watched Handmaid's Tale, and she basically
endorsing that.
You're not. She kind of removed herself, which I feel like women in sex trafficking type of situations do in general. Like, after a while, they will dissociate themselves from the act or whatever, because it's just like really painful, and they kind of just lock it away. If this is my husband, I probably would lean towards it, only because this is my husband, and I'm just going to have the faith that I don't know how we going to get out of the situation, but we going to get out. I wouldn't want him to die. If we just dating for a couple,
Okay, so to me, a conversation, when he said, and when he looked at Saran, was like, The next conversation from me first would have been, let's ask God. Remember, He brought us here. We know we're here because of Him. Let's ask Him. After that, if there was no answer and we were left to make this decision on our own hearts, our conversation would be, how are we going to get out of this? I'm not just about to be his boo thing. Like, what's the point of saving your life if I didn't gave up mine? But in the same token, I guess the alternative is they kill you and they get me anyway. So, but it really
exactly, they're gonna get you anyway.
But the plan to leave, like, am I supposed to escape in the middle of the night, or like what's going on? You gonna get a donkey? But like,
I mean, I'm questioning where these 318 at that when they went to Egypt.
when I was
maybe he was like, we got to get acclimated first, get them on our side, and then we can see how to like snipe them in the middle of the night and roll out.
That's a great question. I see when the 300 showed up, the Spartans. Let's see when
he had 300. Oh, all right.
What's going on with that? This. Where was all these people when I was captured?
Hold on, I think it's your internet connection because you keep freezing, and I think it's disconnecting the lab and reconnecting it.
Oh, okay. I apologize about that. We
do
have.
They had at least 100 people when they went to Egypt, and they maybe not the full 318, but I'm gonna say a smooth 100.
Yeah,
at least.
That's unfortunate. Like, okay, so we spend a lot of time on it. So basically, Sarai is a ride or die type of person.
But here's what I want to say. If we go back to Adam and Eve's punishment, maybe she wasn't allowed to question his decisions because of the law that God said. Let me find that scripture. What do you say? Your husbands will rule over him. He will obey. Let me find the quote, the vicious quote. Yes, and you will desire to control your husband, but he will rule over you. Ain't no question, am I ruler? He didn't say we going, and I'm his sister, and that's what it is. Even if I wanted to be like, no, he just said he's my ruler. Air quote, manipulatively, air quote.
I don't know if she didn't speak up because of that, or we just that was just the omitted part. You know, we just didn't, get that detail because she ended up there anyway. What's the point of hearing their bickering? I mean, if she anything like me, she said a little something, but but it still ended up, I want my husband to live.
She probably was like, my daddy would never.
I would hope not. So the plagues came.
Oh yeah, but wait. I mean, you recap, but my next question was why did Abram?
Aisha said that he told a half lie. Well, he told a half truth.
Yeah, because
he was like his sister. Yeah, half sister. Which is still a lie. We just want to make sure that even if they have it. Yeah.
But
so that's
why did Abram result to I'm gonna go ahead and pull out Sarai if God had already told him that he had his back and would take care of him? Like, I don't really think there was no need. And so to me, at that point is when I'm like, okay, Abram, kind of lost his faith that God was going to see them through the situation. And I wonder what would have happened if he would have just went in there and, said, yo, I'm Abram. These my 300. They with me. And we just here for a season. We coming through. We not really here to wreck anything, because you can see, after it was all said and done, God was just like, yo, like, I got everything you need, everything you want. I got you. Anybody who comes against you is dust. You know what I'm saying? Like, he told him
that. Again, that's what you say to us, and we still act out of order. I think what happened, what we can lean on is, like, if he would have did what I said, I would have asked if I was Sarai, asked the Lord for help. you can see that Lord was the God, that God was in favor of them, because he showed up after Sarai kind of got married to the guy. And you see that the Pharaoh had the fear of God in him as well. He was like, look, I don't know what's going on. Ain't nothing was wrong until y'all showed up. So if it would have happened like that, if they were to get there and then he was to say, you know, this my woman, this my lady, these my men, these my people, these my sheep. We just, yeah, like you said. And then if Pharaoh saw acted out of order, God would have showed up then as well, possibly.
Yeah.
Since he showed up anyway. So then you go make it, and it's not the first time they do that. Take a situation into their own hands and make their own conclusion and how they want to handle it before things even go wrong. That's going to happen later on. A whole child is birthed from this. But if they were, I would have hoped from this situation that they would have learned, God really got me. I'm going to lean on that, not take advantage of it. Like, everybody move out my way, I'm here, this, that, and the other, but really be able to carry out the task that God had for them without finding all these loopholes of how they going to fix the situation or they going to prepare in their own way. And this was just the first time. There is many incidents with this family in which they take the faith that they had, kind of toss it to the side and act out of order. It's just unfortunate, but like reading it, it gave me a lot of self-reflect. Like, I was like, wow, we gotta get this together.
I think it's dope that, I mean, through all his flaws and everything, but like Abraham never went and like was, you know, cocky. He always kind of just remained himself. He never was out here just like wilding out on everybody like, oh, God got me, ping, ping, like, you know, just acting out. Like, he was just like, I know what he said is for me, and, you know, not really worried, very unproblematic until other people, you know what I'm saying, like his nephew got kidnapped and he had to rile up the troops, or, you know, until his wife started tripping. Like, he was just him.
So I have a point for that. So we haven't gotten there, but we all know Sarai turns in Sarah, and Sarah is.
Say it. They
But it's funny how she spoke up then when she was like, I want to have this baby. This is what you about to do. But she didn't speak up. I don't know. Maybe the Pharaoh was cute. I don't know.
It was like, remember that time I had to. I've been keeping it in the tuck. I never forgot. Remember 75 years ago, because you know they was old. Remember 75 years ago when we rolled into Egypt.
Remember back in year 4? Not 19 nothing. Year 4. Remember year 4?
Never forgot.
What was it? It was the year 782.
Never forget.
Yeah. She called his card that day. And I guess because he did not put up any fight. He's like, all right.
You know how when people get of a certain age, they just say whatever they want to. So maybe she was just like, I'm at the age I can say what I want. I don't care. What are you gonna do?
Hold on. The whole ruckus. The whole ruckus was caused. Okay, so next I had, you know, started talking about Lot and choosing the Jordan. And how he was like, he chose the one that was better.
Horrible though. It just said that it was nice, but it didn't say that the other land was horrible. It doesn't. It just said
I mean, it's the way they put it. Lot chose for himself the whole Jordan Valley. Oh, let me see.
It said that the area was well watered and like the garden of the Lord, or the beautiful land of Egypt.
Here it goes. I knew why. I was like, well, why would I be swayed? So the note that I highlighted says that he was greedy, wanting the best for himself without thinking about his uncle's needs or what was fair. So he could have, if this half of the land is good and this half of the land is not good, maybe instead of splitting it between good and bad, you could split it another way, like horizontally, and then you got good, bad at the top and bottom, and he has good, bad at the top and bottom. Maybe you can live off the bad land, like, you know, build on it, and you can, you know, grow and nurture and garden.
So my question would be, because I'm not really sure, maybe this is my own ignorance and I need to look up a map, but because then it goes on to say that Abraham settled in Canaan. So what was it even really a question? Because Abraham got to where he was supposed to go anyway, because God told him to go to Canaan. God didn't tell him to go to the Jordan Valley. I don't know where the Jordan Valley is. And it said in the direction of Zor. So is that even still Canaan? Is that a portion of Canaan? Or is that more so like
okay, so that the map is right there.
Even
The
really
map is on the map is on 32.
it doesn't show it. I just looked.
You have Canaan. I don't know which dot is Canaan, but since Canaan is the big text that is in all caps, I'm assuming, and it's bigger than the Najiv. It's like the size of the word Egypt. So therefore, it's like a big mass of land. So Salem, Sodom, Bethel, I, all of them are part of Canaan.
Well, yeah.
Hold on. Aisha had a note. Aisha said, when things happen in God's time versus our time, we feel the need to step in to make things happen. That is very, very true. That is, I guess, a flaw that all of us have. Like it's not even that we know we can do better. It's just something in us like, I gotta do something. I gotta try something. Try to make things happen for ourselves.
On 34, they zoom in. Turn the page. So you can see the Jordan River in connection to like Jerusalem.
Okay, so Sodom and Gomorrah is on the right. And what part of Canaan is
that means that I took the little line thing that's by, I guess, the Jordan Valley, and then he had the rest of it, I'm assuming. We can look up a real map. This map not the best.
Yeah. when you try to trick somebody and you try to take the good part, and then you end up with the oh no. Hold on, how come your name not on it?
Because you didn't put my name up there. They know me. If you see me in the streets, you don't know me.
Maine? Did you mean Maine like a TI type thing?
No. Why are you boy?
We just gonna keep that there.
Can't you change it? You're supposed to change it. Y'all see how she betrayed me? I'm just gonna leave it there. But I question, why did Abram take Lot in the first place? He said, leave your relatives. Ain't Lot a relative?
He took his
entire family.
Well, he took Lot's entire, because Lot has a wife too. Hold on.
But why did
his nephew Lot? Hold on, let me see if God ever said that. It says leave your relatives and your father's family. Maybe you're part of his mother's family. I don't know. Don't try to get technical with God.
I'm not trying to get technical. I'm just saying, like that's where it all went wrong, because he would have never had to go to war. Because Lot was supposed to have been left in the whole time. Leave your relatives, take your wife and your wealth.
Again, another piece of when you're doing what you want to do. When you're doing what you want to do, how things happen. I don't know how this war broke out, but it broke out and these kings were fighting one another. I didn't really dive into the war. It's a whole bunch of names being thrown around.
I have a note that Abram seemed like a real cool dude. I can see why Sarai fell for him. He took in
Egypt.
He took in his nephew, taught him the ways, give him wealth, and when things got a little crowded, he was like, go ahead and choose whatever you want. He seemed mad selfless, even with his wife. He wasn't selfish with her either. And I was like, maybe I could be, more selfless, especially when it comes to like my family members. Because it turned out to work in Abram's favor at the end.
I mean, yeah. Because he continues to build these altars. Like he built another one after they split the land. He went and built another altar and worship God. He keeps doing that. So, I mean, it's nothing in here to say that he is not okay for the word cool. It's nothing that says anything against him being a cool guy. The notes came up.
What's going on?
I don't know, but I want to make sure we show Aisha. There she goes.
I don't think that's relevant, but you can put the other parts in there.
This is what she said about telling the half truth. I mean, I read all of these, but I want to make sure.
Leave my name as is, was, will be. Like, is your name print play say on the screen?
I'm gonna need you to get it together and be able to say it. Everybody does that. Blah, 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 blah. Let me see. What's your name? Morgan.
No, I don't even want my name up there. They don't know
Too
me
late.
now. They don't deserve to know my name.
Moving on.
Change my name
Okay.
in hand.
So after we already spoke about the 318 members that just showed up all of a sudden, ready to fight for the cause of getting Lot back. At this time, was Lot married yet? Because like, I think he said he came to get Lot and Lot's family, right? So Lot family.
No, he said Lot and his workers, like his whole clan, everybody who was with him, like his tribe.
Yeah, but it said like, look on 32, and it says Lot got himself into trouble. God helped Abram to rescue Lot and his family. So Lot had already had, because like he already had his wife, who we gonna know learn about her too. Lot's wife is something else.
I think that when he said his family, I think that they meant like his workers and his people, but it could mean his wife, possibly.
Okay.
It's not. It. It's not
So,
spoken
so
of.
yeah, after that, Abram took back his nephew, his possessions, and all the women and other captives. And that's when he was blessed by Mel, the king of Salem. It's when you say like blessed. So blessed in the sense of, did he give him something, or just blessed as in this king speaking over you is a blessing? Like this, I wish you well.
Yeah, because he was a king of Salem and a priest. So I think that he was just giving, like, saying a blessing of him. And he
So
said,
he said,
who,
yeah.
yeah, like, just
Go
a,
ahead, you go ahead with it.
oh, no, I was just saying, like, it was a decree, like, blessed be. I wasn't going to read it.
Oh, it was real short. Just blessed be Abram by God Most High, creator of heaven and earth, and blessed be God Most High, who has defeated your enemies for you. That's I can't get over how Abram was like, I solemnly swear to the Lord.
Hold on, time out, though. That's right.
Huh?
And I apologize if I offend somebody. Is it blessed or is it blessed? The blessed take me out every time. Blessed be. I
Blessed be.
say blessed.
I said blessed be. It's blessed.
I don't know.
Aisha said, I just read when we was talking about Lot's wife, I was like, yeah, we're gonna learn about her later. Let me tell y'all what Aisha said. This is no shade to, I don't even learn Lot's wife name. But Aisha said her nickname was Salty. We're gonna learn about that later. But yeah, that's unfortunate. But I don't know. Great debate. Is it blessed or blessed? I don't know. Even if somebody was to type it, we still gonna say it the way we think they.
No, just blessed. Put the hyphen, like blessed.
Blessed, blessed. I don't know. When I read it, I said blessed, right? Blessed be Abram. Blessed be.
Because
I'm
when you say blessed, when you say blessed, it sounds like blessed. So you got to say blessed, so you know it's like past tense.
in the
Like,
bag.
I don't know. I always question like blessed. I've heard both.
So I just say it depends on where you're from. And I was just about to say that. I feel like I have definitely been in a blessed church. Blessed be this, that, and the other. But the way I speak is blessed. But I've definitely been in the blessed church.
When I went to Catholic school or elementary school, and when we used to say our Hail Marys, they used to say, "And blessed be the fruit of your womb, Jesus." It did say blessed.
Blessed. And my family is heavily Catholic since I'm from New Orleans, and that's what they know and do.
They say blessed.
Catholicism is all up and through there. So blessed be.
But anyway, all right, go back. I just wanted to, because I was like, I want to see how she read it.
Blessed. I read it with my Morgan education. Blessed. But if I read it with my heart, blessed be. Oh, you went to Catholic school then? Oh, I didn't go to Catholic school, but my whole family, my father's side is Catholic. My mother's side is Methodist, non-denominational. I just love the Lord, Jesus to be exact. um, did you read the character
Great.
outline on 35 of male, King Male?
Melchizedek.
Shy. We said shy. Male shy deck. Male Shazadek. Blue plaid pleats. Go ahead, Aisha. Her blue plaid pleats. You probably was so cute.
Gray with the red.
I ain't
The
never
little
heard that.
jumper with the little.
We did that in
And
regular school. We wasn't in Catholic school. We was at what was that? Columbia Park Elementary School. But I didn't read his. So it's saying his strengths. He was the first priest / king of Scripture. So good at encouraging others to serve God wholeheartedly, and his character reflected his love for God. So this was one of the good kings. This is a good king. Makes me want to get his name right. Melchizedek. Lessons from his life is that he lived for God, and you're likely to be at the right place at the right time. Examine your heart. To whom or what is your greatest loyalty? If you can honestly answer God, you are living for him. That is what this king stood for. He was a great, great king. So that's different to have a king and a priest at the same time. I don't know if I ever did notice anything like that anywhere else.
I was about to say, I think that it says something because you could even relate it to like today's culture about how a lot of like people with like success and like are in prominent positions, they don't necessarily promote or flaunt their faith in God, but he was both, and he was still able to attain both. And so at first I kind of questioned why Abram gave him any money. I was like, he a priest, he don't need no money. But then he's also a king, so I'm assuming that he does still need a little something to, make the kingdom go around. But I thought it was super dope that he was both at the same time. And that he was just very unproblematic. Like, I love unproblematic people. It's not many of them. And even though his mention is so brief, but I thought that it was interesting that they even gave him like a character spotlight to show that he did have purpose, or like he was in this story.
I like that this Bible does that, especially when we get to like I think her name is Dinah. But yeah, I like reading those. But that's the first time I read his. Honestly, I got my highlights in there. Highlighted the mess out of it. So I got my highlights in there. I didn't refresh to read up on that again. So that was nice to hear about him. I don't have any other following notes. I like that you pointed out 300, but that didn't make me feel better when we think about how like did you just acquire these men? So that's interesting. But again, I think what I can pull from here is saying that in this section we're supposed to discover how to live a life of faith. That's what we're supposed to be learning through Abraham's story, like this whole section of God's chosen family. I definitely pulled a lot from this section, like not just the chapter 12 and I think 12 and 13 is what we did 12, 13, and 14. Not just that snippet, but like this whole, when does it end? Because this section was very large. It's like before we get to, because Job is in this section as well. Yeah. So in our Bible, it goes from Genesis to Job because we're in the chronological Bible. So the story of Abraham and his family
We
kind of ends.
moved until like 90,
Yeah,
so it's still lengthy because we
yeah. So like Genesis 50 is where it stops. So all of Genesis. So from 12 to 50 is Abraham and the chosen family. But then again, Job is considered a part of the chosen family as well. So Job's story is lumped in there, and then we'll get into Israel. So I guess next time, oh, I didn't skip through everything. I gotta go back to see what so next time we meet, we will talk about
more Abram and his family.
so that'll be 15. You want to just talk before Sodom and Gomorrah? So 15, 16, and 17?
I mean, we can. I feel like it's going to be another short one. We're just going to have to really elaborate it because even though it is 15, 16, 17, my remembrance of this jump.
We start talking about Hagar and all of that. That's a big deal.
Not yet.
That's in 16.
I mean, yeah, we talk about how things came about, but all right, that's fine.
Yeah, so it's like the whole Ishmael. Yeah, the whole Ishmael
Yeah,
situation.
that's a real quick in and out story. This is what happened. This is how it happened, and then we hit.
Okay, so do you want you're leading next time? So do you want to talk about Sodom and Gomorrah? Because I feel like if you're talking about it, then it has to be the whole story of it as well.
So,
like I would have wanted to talk about like Lot and his daughters, like right after Sodom and Gomorrah.
based off of my notes, I'm prepared to go through Sodom and Gomorrah. However, I'm prepared to personally go through how long is Sodom and Gomorrah.
Sodom and Gomorrah, because I would like if I was going to touch on Sodom and Gomorrah, I would like to talk about Lot and his daughters, which happens right after that. So
that's at the end of time. Yeah, I mean,
Genesis 19.
so I'm good with doing. I mean, that does seem like a lot. 15,
Yeah,
20,
that's a lot.
15 to 20. That's 5 chapters. Today we do 3.
So 15 through 20. I mean, I got my notes, my Bible marked that.
It's up to you. I mean, do y'all want to, if y'all can just put in the chat real quick, do y'all want to stop before Sodom and Gomorrah or y'all want to get into Sodom and Gomorrah?
I think if we can, I mean, I'll wait to see what's said, but I think if we can, it'd be nice to
let's shoot for it. All right. Ideally, we'll go through 20. Come prepared to be read through chapter Genesis 20. But if we don't get to it, then we will either go a little longer than 8:00. It's only 8:00. It's only been an hour. Dang, we was real concise today. That's what I want y'all to. I know, but I just want to, really give.
She said go into Sodom and Gomorrah. So that's 15 to 20, right?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I'm all the way. I'm on Rebecca.
Yeah.
All right, 20.
20.
Okay, there we go. So that's what's going on. That's what we're gonna do. So hopefully everybody got something out of this. I know that we kind of really, I think we gave Sarai the attention she deserved in this episode. Because I think a lot of stuff does get glossed over because I want to read the Bible in a year or I want to read. So that's not what this is. We're not trying to read the Bible in a year. We're trying to really get through it and really see where our head is. So we will see how it goes. Are you prepared to go over? I had cookies this morning. I ate it this morning. It was so good. I woke up to a cookie. It was a fresh baked Toll House cookie. Are we prepared to go over if we have to dig into Sodom and Gomorrah? Because that's a smooth 34 to 46. That's almost 10 pages. I mean, but I got the notes. Like I can go.
My notes are done. I feel like if I'm concise in my recap to give us time to dive in.
Isaac or anything like that yet. No, that's after that. Okay. So that's after that. Okay.
I feel like I can get it done. We can get it done.
Okay. All right. Well, that is it for today's episode.
On time.
Yeah, we ended at 8. That's exciting. All right. Well, we will see y'all later. We appreciate you logging in. It was a big oops on my part. I thought a link had been sent out earlier, so I'm really apologizing to everybody who didn't get a chance to catch the live. But this is gonna be available to them in like 10 minutes. So, all right.
Have a blessed day.
Blessed. Oh goodness.